Well, hello, good afternoon, Catherine Wylie. I was wondering what the N in your name was stood for, because it's
Oh,
CN Wylie all over the
yes,
internet.
it is Nerissa. That is my middle name. It is Catherine Nerissa Wylie. That's my maiden name. I finally, after all the husbands, switched my children were very happy with me now. Although my daughter caught something the other day with my last married name. She goes, Mom, you got to change it. Okay, okay. So I'm back to where I started with my maiden name when I was born.
That's
As my
awesome.
children, I've got a long list of names. I know.
I can relate. I can relate. Well,
So
let
yeah,
me introduce you
yeah,
to everybody who's watching this on the replay. This is CN Wiley, founder of the CN Wiley Group, which does has been doing e-commerce since before e-commerce was a thing to do, um,
yeah.
and also the founder of the Gain Center for Spiritual Improvement
Progress.
Progress. Thank you.
Progress.
So
Virgo
thank you.
great gain. Thank
Yay.
you.
Thank
Yeah,
you for
thank you for
being here
having me.
today.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
having me. Yeah,
It's
I
my
love this.
pleasure.
Yeah, I love
Okay,
this.
so let's begin talking a little bit about the old war stories, if you will, because I'm fascinated
Yeah.
about the early days when you went out and you were training like all of the big Fortune 500 companies on how to actually take our money over the internet. Back when everybody was going, oh yeah, it's a fad. IBM, them, as a corporation said, who would want a computer in their own home,
I know. I
And
know. I
with
know.
all of that kind of societal mentality, you had a vision. You saw what was possible, and
Yeah.
you started teaching other people what was possible. And boom,
Yeah.
where did it go
Boom
from
is right.
there?
Boom. And yeah, well, I'm used to people thinking that I'm crazy, because as you know, with the initial story of I'm going to take the kids, go back to school, get a business degree, everyone thought, how is she going to do that with all those kids? I did it. So when I met this company in 1993, I went, oh, wow, this is awesome. We're going to be able to, without capital infrastructure, we're going to be able to help developing countries create wealth. And so we started looking at all the possibilities and we decided I was working for a company called Equity Magazine. It was the only company that would hire me when I got my business degree because who wants a 37-year-old single mother of four? That was basically what I got. And this door was wide open to me. And then, so this is what is really good to share with people. Sometimes, you've got a plan and you want to go in this direction because, I wanted to get into pharmaceutical sales or some other kind of sales. Sales, I needed 2 years of sales before I started my companies because I knew it would teach me how to listen. And people tell you, companies tell you what they want and what they need. And out of that, then you can create products and services that are actually going to meet the demand, right? So that's
Yes,
part of how you move forward.
yeah.
So what happened is in 93, we sat back and we looked at it and we were able to put some really solid predictive components business wise as how we saw the internet, how we would take that. And I mean, people, it's in the air, right? That's how people,
Mm-hmm.
the information highway in the early days. And we were able to put together, when I worked at this magazine, 3 seminars in one day. And we started with the first one. And I sat back because I'd organized it all and with, teammates, sat back and watched the audience. We lost them in 5 minutes. And we thought that we had brought it to a business level they could get. It was too much because people are focused on how are we going to do, how are we moving money? How are we doing this in the air? That
Mm-hmm.
concept, because as you can imagine, people didn't even have computers, like you're saying, or the
Yeah.
computers at
No,
home or
I
whatever.
I remember being very young and going to the department store with my godmother.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
when she went to pay for it, she handed him a little piece of plastic
yeah,
that like had pushed up numbers on it, and they put
yeah,
it in a machine. and
yeah,
and I was so confused on why aren't you giving her money? And
yeah,
she explained, well, at the end of the month they're
exactly.
going to send me a bill, and then I'm going to pay that bill and send them a
Yeah,
check. And I was like
yeah,
flabbergasted. So
yeah,
we've come a long way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. we've come a long way. And so that first one, I gathered everybody, we got it even more simple. Second one, we probably kept their attention for about 20 minutes, still lost them. And so then the third one, we just took it right to really, really basics. And they got it. We, by about the end of about the last 10 minutes, it was like, oh, but still, I had people come up to me going, "You're insane. This is never going to work. No way, not going to work." And I just laughed and said, "Watch what happens." Because we were predicting exactly what you're seeing now. Streaming, everything conjoining on platforms, coming together on the e-commerce. And so what I did is I sat back, and because I'm a business person, I have a degree in business. I believe that we should be making money, not this paradigm. If you remember in the early 90s, this huge con that was going on in the .com, it was a con because people saw, hey, we're going to be able to raise tons of money and we're just going to tell people you don't have to make a profit. And I'm like, hi. It didn't change people. Like, no. So I was determined that we were going to find the return on the investment. So we started building websites and building those websites in a way so that people could actually make money. And then in 1990s, and that was fairly straightforward. In 1996, I went, well, the next piece is we've got to actually be able to do the transactional piece. And I thought, well, who's doing that? Well, Visa was piloting in the US. They were piloting the first of the gateways of being able to do card holder data online. And but okay, so 93, 94 is when I started the companies. Let me move back. So again, I bootstrapped 2 companies in 94, 93, 94. I bootstrapped 2 companies, C and Wylie Strategic Profits, to start the companies. And that's when we started building websites. I was still doing advertising and marketing. That was really what was paying the bills, because we'd met this guy who had what's called the mini cat, and we were beginning to show people what they could do. And of course, they're like, what? Again, from those other seminars. Didn't matter. We were determined that we were gonna show people how to make money. And out of that, I developed what's called the surefire strategies for making money online and the surefire strategies for fundraising online. So for charities, because at that time, now charities really understand the business of fundraising now. They really understand. They had to move into that whole field of looking at their nonprofit or their charity as a business, but in a nonprofit way, in order to make money, because it's all about how do we get the customers? How do we get the flow? And so we developed our surefire strategies for fundraising online based on business practices with understanding you're going to break even. That's where it's at. Or if you're making more, then it's going into more projects. The more money a charity can make, the more funding, the more projects that they can do. And for me, when I funded and founded the companies, it was about creating positive change. Everything in my life is about creating positive change, and the money flows from that. And so we went along 96, 97. So we're making I knew we needed, called Visa down in the States. And I said, who the heck's doing this in Canada? And they said, Royal Bank Visa. At that time, they weren't Moneris. They were Royal Bank Visa. They gave me a fellow to call. I said, hey, I'm doing all this work. I've got these work. I need to attach payment to my websites now. Is there something we can do? He said, yeah, come back. So I flew back to Toronto, had a meeting. His name was Adrian Horsfield. Unfortunately, he's passed away now, but he was a wonderful man. So we talked about it, and I'm like, so why aren't you guys doing this? Why are you letting someone like me and other people that, have got the audacity to go to bleeding edge at this point, 1996, why are you letting us doing this? Well, for me, I thought, they want us to throw all the money up against the wall first to see how this plays out before they really got into the game themselves, even though they're there. But as you know, with Visa, they have all of their own things, MasterCard and everything else, which is fabulous. But that was the name of the game. And so he said, yeah. So he introduced me to this company that had a gateway that they were piloting. I bought the gateway, bought the first gateway. We, what we had to do to integrate and get this set up is hilarious, because we had all these pipelines, these really expensive pipelines that we had to put in place in order to make it happen.
Okay.
And today it's all IP driven, right? But back
Yeah.
then we had physical pipes, like components that were working with other things that we had to do to connect this, connected into Visa so that we could do the transactions. And so what happened from that meeting in Toronto is I said to them, we do these seminars and workshops. Really what we need to do is we need to roll this out across Canada so we can teach merchants what's going to be happening. And he agreed to that. So we put together, because we've been doing these other kinds of seminars. So in 1997, we launched, and I think we called them the Surefire Strategies for Making Money, because that was the name of the workshops. We started the rollout seminars starting in Toronto and worked our way back to Vancouver. We had 300 merchants in Vancouver, where we explained to them, here's how they were going to make money.
Wow.
In 1997. And I made everybody, we had backup, but I made everybody, I wanted to show them the other side, because this is what I'm like. We ran it live off the internet, the presentation. And my people were like, oh my God. I said, well, oh my God, see this? If something fails, we just turn the regular, little projector on, and we've got a PowerPoint presentation. So we're perfectly okay. But I want to give them a little preview of how they're going to be really doing everything in life. And look at us now in the
Wow.
middle of
You
the
were
pandemic, how we
streaming
had to pivot.
meetings.
I was streaming meetings back in
Yeah.
1997. And we're still in dial-up days then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bing, 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 bing,
Mm-hmm.
bing, bing, bing. But anyway, so it was great. But what was hilarious about it is the poor bankers, the managers, don't have any idea. So we would get called into different meetings, from Toronto to, all the way west, and we would just fly and do them. And what was really fun is, like, the client, and these are high level clients. These are big companies.
Mm-hmm.
So the bank manager would be sitting, I'd be sitting, and then the client sitting, and they would look at the bank manager, ask the bank manager, and the eyes would open, and the bank manager would look at me, and I would be answering the questions. Because they're like, they didn't want to admit that they had no clue. Like they're like everybody else. Like, how is this? Like, this is magic, right?
Right.
This is magic time. And so it was fabulous. And we just started getting more and more clients, putting them on, and it, and we just started expanding our applications. And we were utilizing in the beginning, we were utilizing licensing other people's products and services. We started in 1994, security and privacy first. I was stickler about security and privacy first, even though there really wasn't much out there. I was fortunate that my team, I have a chief technical officer, his name's Greg Patton. This guy, self-taught, self-made, he agreed with me, security and privacy first, because we believed that we could build anything from security and privacy first without sacrificing revenue and without turning our heads. And so that's how we, started building. But in the beginning, we were licensing products, other people's. And so we were having trouble because we couldn't make changes that we needed, because we customize based on what our client needs were. So you have a base kind of application. And then our platform was such that we would have these, and I would go in like, well, I need to do this and that. And they'd be like, no. And so you remember, we're in the .con, because these businesses weren't real. I'm going to tell you this story. This is wild. I'm not going to use the big, huge telecoms name. But anyway, big, huge telecoms name, and then a big global tech company. Mm-hmm. So we go along, we're doing this anyway. So we needed a new gateway system. We have big, huge clients. We needed a new gateway system. So big tech company comes in, big telecom system. They want to partner with us. They want us to build their payment system. Okay, no problem. We do this. So I'm just going to tell you the .con days. Not they weren't trying to do that, but just really what was happening with all these other companies. So by this point, this is, what year was this? 99? No, it's year 2000 by this time. So, so we're rolling along, churning along, and you're still in that time before the whole thing blows, which it blew in what, 2000, 2001. The whole thing fell apart because finally people realized they had to make money, and nobody was. Very few.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos, who started, I think, what did he start Amazon? 1999.
Yeah.
1999. Jeff Bezos was running his thing and like just red. And I used people go, oh, what's he? I said, well, I'm not worried about Jeff Bezos because he's building his infrastructure, he's building his foundation, and Jeff Bezos at some point is going to turn, the money's just going to start churning. And so we know where Jeff Bezos and Amazon is today. He's now the second richest man in the world next to Elon Musk. But so what happens? This is hilarious. So we've got a partnership, and they're supposed to be bringing in the clients. We're building we've got the new payment system going. We have our own shopping cart at this point, which is solid. Like you can't, like, it is secure and private. But anyway, everybody was doing all of these deals and these partnerships. So they brought us this piece of software that we were supposed to work with them with. They wanted to, which is fine. So we get this thing going, and my chief technical officer comes into my office and he said, we got a bit of a problem. I said, what? He said, well, I got one of the programmers to check the security, and he just looked at me after 10 minutes and said, I can take the whole network of this giant telecoms. I said, what? He goes, oh yeah. I said, get him on the phone. So we got them on the phone. We said, you got a big problem with this piece of software, and we can't do it. You got to get a hold of this company. We got to fill the holes because a truck can come in and start stealing all the credit card numbers. And they're, because they're big. They're like, yeah, right, whatever. So anyway, this kind of goes along for a little while. Then about a week, 2 weeks later, he comes walking in again. He said, now we have a bigger problem. I said, what? And we've got customers in this thing that we're trying to get this whole, because we can't do it because it's not our piece. It's not our IP. They're supposed to do it. He goes, we've got a bigger problem. I said, what is it? He said, I'm pinging. I can't find the software. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, the software has disappeared, and we've tried to call the company, and it looks like it's disappeared too. And this was the beginning of the beginning. They paid $1 million for this piece of software. So I call up my partner and I go, you put this piece of software in trust. You've got it in trust, because what you do is, in our business, if something happens or go bank, what you do is you have your software in a safe place so that if something happens, you can still do the continuity. Like it's in a trust situation, so you can take care of people, right? Mm-hmm. So I said, so you do have your trust agreement, so everything, because we can't find the company or the piece of software. It's disappeared. They go, what? So anyway, they get back to us the next day, go, no, it's disappeared. So gone.
Oh my
gosh. And no way. And that was the beginning. Like, you were starting to see companies go down left, right, and center, because suddenly all the money started getting pulled, because everyone woke up and went, well, just a minute, I think we should be making money. Crazy. Crazy.
That is wild.
And then it's wild. It's really wild. And then with these two partners that we were partners, this is even wilder. This is the big war story. That thing kind of disappeared. There was a few, but there really wasn't. We're meeting all our obligations, and we're partnered on the gateway software, and that was $500,000, like big money. And then the software was $300,000 US, which is crazy. That was what they gouged the daylights out of things. Today, our servers cost, and they are robust servers because we own all our servers. Today, our servers cost maybe $2,500, $5,000. They're absolutely fabulous, and lesser if we just need other things. Right. So anyway, what ends up happening is I get an employee of the big telecom company sends me an email and says, you need to go look at this. Well, they had invested in another company in Ontario, a big chunk of money and were doing something that they were supposed to be doing with us. And I got back to, so I went back and I said, what are you guys doing? Is that why you're not putting the customers in here? Because you just put the money over here. And there's just like this dead silence. And I said, well, we're going to have to change our partnership up because I'm paying you X amount for the boxes. You're not living up to your end. You've just done this year. Mm-hmm. And so we're just going to go on a percentage basis. Whatever you come in, that's what I'm going to pay you. And they go, well, no, we can't do that. I said, what do you mean you can't do that? You're not living up to your end of the contract here. And yeah, you are going to do it because I'm not giving you another dime until you start doing your end. No. So they were going to, and this is the biggest lesson. Mm-hmm. This is why everything came in-house after that. We own everything because they had the servers in their data center. They had the access to it because we're partnered on it. They suddenly said to me, oh, we're not really partners. I said, excuse me? No, we're not really partners. And we're going to shut the boxes down. We're talking big, huge clients across Canada, including, wow. Oh yeah, wild. And I went, you can't do that. You can't shut them off. Oh yeah, we can. So I had to get the lawyer, file for an injunction to stop them. And in the meantime, everything's fallen apart in .con land, right? We had to change gateways again because one of the companies was going bankrupt and they were getting out because they couldn't make any money. We were going to have to shift these clients anyway. So anyway, here I've got these two giants, these two big giants with their teams of lawyers, mm-hmm. who had me, little me, with my team. What have I got? Maybe 10, 14 people at that point. Little me and my one lawyer. Mm-hmm. So, and we've got two contracts, one for the boxes and one for the other agreement. So it ends up that the judge goes, well, I can't put these contracts together, so I can't give her the injunction. And I'm thinking, that's it. That's the end of everything.
Right.
So that night, I'm home. I have a bottle of scotch in one hand, a bottle of Chardonnay, and my Bible under my hand. Like I have literally, it's under my arm.
You're loaded for bear.
I'm loaded, and my kids are all there, and I'm yelling. Like I am not begging for mercy. I'm just saying, show me the bridge. Where's the bridge? I can't let them shut all of these clients down. Show me the bridge. And it was brutal. Literally, if they cut it off, that was it. Mm-hmm. And there was no need. Anyway, so I went to bed that night. I woke up in the morning and literally I just put the covers over my head. I'm going, how am I going to face this day? And I had a really, really good friend. He'd mentored me for years and he knew what was going on. And the phone kept ringing and I wasn't answering. Finally, I answered. He goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm in bed with the covers over my head. He goes, you can't do that. I said, it's over. I'm not getting the injunction. They're going to shut the bot. I can't move. I'm done. He goes, you're not done. He goes, you're not done. I said, I'm done. He said, he lived in Vancouver. I was out in White Rock. He goes, I'm calling back in 20 minutes. You get in the shower, you get dressed. We're going to have a little chat. You're not done. And he said, if you don't answer the phone in 20 minutes, I'm driving out and I'm going to kick your door down and I'm going to haul you out of bed and you're going to deal with this. And I'm like, oh God, okay. I said, you're going to really do? He said, yeah, you're not done. So what I didn't know was that what the judge had said to them, though, because I'd gone after them on financial harm for me and financial harm for the clients. What I didn't know that he'd said, because the lawyer forgot this part until the next day, is that he had told this little team on both sides that if, in fact, he said, there's no reason for you to do this. She has to do this. You know, this is going on. She's got you. He said, if you shut these boxes down, she's got you. And he goes, why would you want to shut off these big paying clients? Like, are you kidding me? So anyway, I didn't know this at the time. So anyway, I got up, I got dressed, I had the shower, got dressed, waited for the phone call. He goes, who do you know? well, I said, I know everybody. I mean, we're all in this together. We're all building this. We're all making this up together. Literally, there
Right.
was nothing. We're making it up together. We think,
Mhm.
oh, I think this is going to work. We're making it up. We go along. And I said, and I named two names, and in the business, same business as me. And he said, will they help you? And I said, I don't know. He goes, call them and find out what happens. So I picked up the first phone call, and this was Minaris had just been born, and I knew the boys because Royal Bank Visa was where I bought the first gateway, worked with the boys and all things they were doing. And I said, this is the situation. They're going to shut the boxes off. And my guy goes, well, when are they going to do that? Anytime. He goes, crack, you know where we're at with this. He said, okay, leave it with me. Just leave it with me. We'll see what we're doing. Because we had all of the merchant accounts were sitting with either RBC or BMO. So he calls back and he goes, we're on it. Give me Greg's number. Made the second phone call to my other guy. And of course, it's you keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So when you're in competition, I don't believe in competition. I believe in co-opetition. I told him what was happening. He said, that's not happening. Get me Greg's phone number. So within a couple of days, we had everything moved. And in the meantime, because the judge had terrified this group, they goes, I don't think you can do this. I don't think you better shut these things off. They had kind of sat back. We were kind of waiting. And then I said, oh, everything's off. So if you want to shut this down, you can go ahead and shut it down now. And they said, no, we want to make sure that you've got plenty of time because we know we really had to do this. And I went, well, now you say that we could have worked this out amicably, right?
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
this war that we went to. But that's that power over, we're bigger. We're just going to kick this chick out of, I'm the head of, I'm a girl, the head of women, head of a tech company. I was going to kick this chick to the curb. And I was like, no, you're not. I mean, I thought I'd been kicked to the curb, but nope. It was like, here we go. And then we started building again from that perspective. And at that point, I said to my team, we are never, ever being in this position. We are never going to be put in the position where our clients could be compromised. And so at that point, we started building all of our own apps and all of our own servers. We built it out, and that's where we are today. All the applications, the platforms, the servers we own. Our partners are the processing partners, and that's it. Because that way, no one could put us in a compromising position again. We were in the command chair on price, on security, privacy. We could manage all of that. So, but that was the wildest one. And then there was another war because there's another war because they blew off $300,000 off the boxes. They blew off $300,000 worth of software, and then tried to come back at us for something else. I had to get another lawyer and go, excuse me, where's the software then? And it was like, it came to a standstill fairly quickly going, yeah, that wasn't very good. Instead of sitting down and working it out, working together, we could have made a fortune together. But no, didn't want to do that. It's that short-sighted, oh my God, they were losing a fortune in so many things because of what I call the .com time. The .com time where somebody spends $1 million on a crap piece of software, $1 million on a crap piece of software that you could drive in and steal everything. No focus on security or that. It was crazy. Crazy, wild times. Wild west, let me tell you.
Well, that is absolutely fascinating, and I could listen to those kinds of stories all day because I remember when we'll get to when PayPal hit the scene later, but I
Oh
want to
God, yeah.
welcome Ralph. Thanks so much for joining us again today, Ralph.
Hi,
Um,
Ralph.
Ralph is transitioning out of the military, and he's got a specific skill set that I think is highly marketable in being able to write resumes for getting government jobs and then also
Fantastic.
transitioning out of government jobs into the private sector. So, as
Fantastic.
you were talking about it, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I wonder if someday Ralph will ever get to the part where he uses his skills to create an app and can market that in the app store where
Yeah.
you download it, you put in what, normal words about what it is that you do, and out pops the right CV to get a particular federal job. So I'm not trying to put work on your
I love it.
desk, Ralph, but I'm like, this, I want you to get whatever you can get out of each and every one of these conversations. So, do you have
Yeah,
any
Ralph can
questions
do
so
that.
far, Ralph?
Yeah, I mean that's a good idea, but like building the website, um, what key factors should be in there? Because I'm just starting to, somebody told me, hey, you should do this, and I didn't want to listen to them, and then I hear more people saying, yeah, you need to, yeah, you need to, and it just kept going and going. So all right, fine. So I'm gonna,
Okay.
you know, take that step. But
So
what key points should I have on the website?
so so you don't have a website yet. So have you got a business plan for your business? Have you put that together yet? We're
Right
talking a
now it's
one
just
pager.
yeah, and that's all I had help from Rob. He made a like a do um what do you call it, done for you plan and a done with you plan.
Okay, so you've got that completed.
Yes, ma'am.
You just you've just
He's a yes.
stalled on me there. So always the first thing
Uh,
you want to plan for success, which is it can just be 1 or 2 pages where you've got what's your mission, what are your goals, and your action steps to make them happen. I don't know if you can hear me or not because
yeah.
it's there you go, you're back. So you've got your action steps. You want to create an action plan for yourself. What are your steps? And so are you doing it as a company or just doing it as yourself right now? What are you deciding with this company? Where are you
It's
sitting with that?
it's just myself because I figure there's almost no overhead. It's just my time and my computer.
That's good. No, that's really fantastic. We want to keep the overhead low. So, okay, so you're not incorporating at this point. You're just going to self as a proprietor, start it up like that until it gets to the point with taxation and things that makes sense. Correct?
Yeah.
Did you get? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so when you're building a website, what you want to really be assured is that you have the solid message, the graphics, the emotion that you want to present to your clients. So you want to have a unique selling proposition. So it says in like one sentence, what is it that you're doing and accomplishing? What are basically what's the benefit of working with you to do this? With strategic profits, it was, if I can remember, it's been so long. We something about we do proven affordable revenue streams and something. I don't know what's on there. I have to go back to it, but it's very specific that basically what you do when you come to us is that we help you create revenue streams and database of clients for you to be able to increase your revenue over time, right? So you want to just be able to tell your story in one sentence. So when people look on the site right up front, they know exactly what they're going to get with you. And then you want to have testimonials so that people will say, yeah, like if you're helping them get jobs, right? Find jobs, write a CV and everything else. Wow. With my CV, I got more interviews and then I got this job that I really wanted, looking for different testimonials. If you don't have any in the beginning when you start, that's okay, but you can add them to it. You want to make sure whatever software you're using that you keep your security and privacy, that you keep it updated. We build everything ourselves because we can control the security. There's lots of great places. I think there's Wix, there's there's WordPress, there's Drupal. But WordPress, you have to be careful that whoever is managing that for you is that you're updating and keeping updated with the security aspect so you don't get hacked. Okay, because the criminals are out there in force looking for anything to disrupt. And even though you're not doing any e-commerce at this point, meaning you're not attaching a gateway at this point, there may be a point when you're looking that you're going to be able to sell some of your IPs. So you may have something that you write up that, one, you're giving it away, but there's something else that you might want to sell. You sell it for $2 or $5. I haven't looked at your entire business plan. I could look at it and like Gayle go, okay, we can monetize this, we can monetize that, right? But first up, you just want you want people to know exactly what you're doing. Your graphics, you want your graphics to reflect the business that you're in. Testimonials, what else? Yeah, just that. Just keep it succinct. It's nice to have a blog. People like to blog today, so you can have a blog. So you can. I'm going to have to shift. I don't know why this is doing this. Has been plugged in here. I'm going to plug in case I fall off here. Can you still hear me?
Yep,
okay.
We can hear you fine.
Because I just took this off.
Ralph, I wanted to ask you, Ralph, have you had a chance yet to reach out to those people, 7 of 8 or whatever, that you rewrote their resume and they got the jobs that they wanted, to ask them for a testimonial or a video testimonial about it? Video testimonials are great.
Yeah, they
be great. Yeah.
They all are willing to back me.
Excellent.
Good.
Excellent.
So yeah, just keep it simple. You want succinct information. What's in it for your client? Why should they believe you? And then a call to action. So those are the 3 basics. So, and it's always about what's in it for them, right? So what's in it for them? What are they going to get when they sign up with you? And you're going to do that for them. Why should they believe you? That's where testimonials. And then the call to action. If you give them an opportunity, if they sign up that's a direct response component. If they sign up with you, then you're going to give them 15% off by a certain date, etc. There's all sorts of different ways, or you don't have to give them a discount. You can basically say, when you sign up, then I've got all of these, like you can do video blogs, like this will help you, this will help you, this will help you, like whatever this is for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
okay.
I just wanted your idea on the, because I named it straight resume enhancement, right? Because the process for me is they'll give me their resume, what they already have, and then I'll just wordplay with their resume. Because if you apply for a federal system, it's a whole different way of writing a resume. It can be 15 pages long to 20 pages long, right? Compared to private sector where it's 1 or 2.
Right. And so you want to explain your expertise in being able to create that resume for those sectors with the industry. So you want them to know that that's your expertise. You can do that for them because they're different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, very different.
It's as simple as, so you're what's in it for them, exactly that. Here's my expertise. I can take your resume now and I'm going to create it for the private sector, or you could do 2, one for the private sector, one for the other sector. So, and that's it. Okay. And how expertise you develop, right?
Right. Because I wanted to, I know some need a mission. It's kind of mission. Sorry, I've got military mindset. Mission statement, right? It's putting your skill sets up front. And that's what I wanted to put as my mission statement. Because I know I talked to a lot of resume readers, and they said they don't care about the graphics, the colors. They just want to see facts. They just want to see up front what your skill sets are. They don't want to be distracted by all these other designs.
But that's why you're still going to need some graphics, but that's why I said keep it simple and put your expertise up front. You still want to have graphics, keep them simple. You don't have to
on the resume, on the website.
No, I meant on the resume. They don't care too much about the.
No. On the resume, on the resume, people just want to see what's in it for them, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So,
no, I was talking about the website. I thought that's what we were talking about. Yeah. But on a resume, no, it's straight up and again, on a resume, for the person reading the resume, what's in it for me? Like, why do I want to hire this person? And then for the person on the resume, they've got referrals, so they can find out, oh yeah, we really want to, right? And you're not going to really do a direct response on a resume, but that's the bottom line. The meat and potatoes. You want the meat and potatoes, not the fluff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's bottom line for anything. Meat and potatoes, no fluff.
it's really interesting watching or listening to you two talk about it, because it sounds like the same mentality that Ralph you use to redesign a prospective resume is the
Yep.
same mentality to be in creating your website. You know,
Yep.
what's in it for the person that hires you?
Yes.
What's, you know, that type
That,
all the way through even, and
yeah.
but you'll be able to do a direct call to action that they don't
Mhm.
necessarily need to do. The resume is an implied call to action.
Yeah.
Hire me or don't.
Yeah. Hire me or don't. Exactly. On the website, it's always good to have a direct response on the website. That's good marketing, right? And that can be, you want something that's high value but low cost to you, right? And that's, so if you're writing white
Right.
papers, you're doing video blogs, so because I mean video is so good today, that you can give them those, you want to give them those little bits, but just enough that they want the rest to come into you, like they need the rest, like they've got to
Okay.
hire you in order to get the rest. You don't give away the farm, you just give that teaser, and it's like, oh yeah, I mean, I have to hire him because this is what's going to happen. So yeah, it's
You know,
creating.
as
So
you're talking, I want to give you this little idea for positioning, please, Ralph. I don't mean to interrupt you, but as I'm seeing this, it's like I want to see something from you that says, you know, as a G12, I know the magic words to what it takes to get up in the ranks, even if it's your entry
Yeah,
level. Let me help you, kind
yeah,
of thing. I mean,
exactly.
we'd have to work on the text of it, but position wise, that's where I think, you know, you need to highlight your expertise, highlight your accomplishment as it is. I mean, who the hell gets to a G12? Not many people.
Yeah,
You know,
that's, yeah,
just
and
exactly.
lucky.
you've seen no, you've done well, especially inside of the structure as it is, but that's your crown, is the fact that you have ascended in the ranks as far as you can go. So you obviously must know what it takes to get that next door to open, right? And that's what you're offering to share with them, that skill that only you have on how to open that next door inside of the military.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
You are expert.
I apologize, I interrupted you. Your
No,
question.
no. So, like on the website, should I put a sample of how a resume came to me and how I improved it? Just like one sample, the
I would,
statement.
yeah, I would put parts of it. You don't necessarily need to put the whole thing up, but I would put just the teaser parts, just the teaser
Okay.
parts. You don't want them taking it and using it for themselves. So you just want the teaser, just a little bit to say, yeah. So maybe one part was like, this is what it was like when we went to this. And then, you know, and then we build the whole resume out like this. You don't want to give them the whole thing.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you've got some stellar differences that you made in, you know how most people put like a mission statement, a personal mission statement at the top of their resume, and you've translated that into militaries, that would be a great little thing to use. But I agree with Catherine that I wouldn't want somebody using my resume that way. So you wouldn't
No.
want to do anything identifiable.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Redact. And just take a piece. Yeah, redact and take a piece of it and use the example of this is what it was before and this is what it was and this is what happened, right? And then, to bring them in. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I noticed a lot of resumes now that go hit. It's through a system. It's not really a person anymore.
Hmm.
But once it goes through the system, then it becomes a person. So I guess the key skill that I have with these guys that I've already worked with, I can get them through the system, but it's up to them after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
all up to them. They have to take the action. You'll get them in the door. The rest is up to them, right? And I mean, you can coach them on that.
Okay.
If you've got, if you can always move into, if you know how to get them to the next step of part of the coaching, that could be something you could add into your business later, coaching them
Yeah.
how to get to the next
Hmm.
level.
Yeah.
Probably
Interview
a big
coaching.
revenue stream. Yeah.
Hmm.
Because if you know how to do that, here's a resume, and oh, okay, we got this. Oh, and by the way, here's my add-on, because I can actually coach you on the action that you need to take to be able to get that job and get to where you want to go. That's something you can consider as an additional revenue stream going forward. It would be a natural, as far as I can think, right?
I would agree.
Yeah, because in the military, when you are getting out, whether you do your 4 years, 6 years, or however to retire, you're required to do these transitional courses. Like, I just wanted your suggestion. I know you like reached out, right, to explain your expertise. And what I'm trying to say is, I would love to go into the military folks that are transitioning out and tell them, hey, this is what I have. That do you think I have enough credibility to be like, hey, this is what you need to do on your resume. This is what you need to do in your interviews. This is the struggles you may get into, because I've been through all that, and I still got myself.
It's called experience. That's how we build things. As you heard, there was nothing in the e-commerce world when we started. We took regular business and we went with a hope and a prayer, well, this is going to work. And guess what? It did. We adjusted it for the tech. And so you have that expertise. And so what you can do is what you're doing is sharing your experiencing on that coaching level of how you did it and how you got there. And you're going to be helping them to adjust to these techniques that you're bringing to them to utilize. Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. You've got the expertise, made it happen. That's where expertise comes from, when you make it happen. When it's successful for you, then you can help people create that success for them based on themselves, their personality, where they want to go. You're just adjusting accordingly. So I think you'd be great at it.
I think that you would absolutely do well becoming one of those transitional classes that are required for people to exit the military. That this should be a class.
Yeah.
Resume writing for the civilian world and interviewing techniques for the civilian world.
Because again, given where we are, being online, what you want to be able to do is create it so you've got a whole virtual component. So if you want to do face-to-face, that's great. But again, we're dealing with the pandemic. And so what's great is when you're creating these online, you can reach out into every area of, North America, the world, depending upon that expertise and what's happening with military people in other parts of the world. I mean, I don't know that, but you would know that. You can find out that, right? So you open up your ability to create revenue without having to do face-to-face. I mean, you can do it, of course, but I mean, that's what it's all about. I've been a digital girl since 1994. I did a government project where I had to, 1994. I set the companies up in 1994 that we could work anywhere from the world and do our business. So when we had to pivot with this whole pandemic, there was no pivot. We were already there. And so it's like, it was like, well, this is what, do you need some help? Right. And I mean, I did a government project back in 1998 to teach everybody how to go digital. And my government people were the worst. They still wanted to, I said, no, we're in a digital project, kids. I know you're going to get used to it, right? I think about these people, they were whining, complaining. And I was like, you can't. Like, it's so exciting. And I mean, I'm sure some of them, once the pandemic hit, they're like, holy cow, we did learn this way back in 1990. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm excited for you. You have some really great potential to build something really fabulous here. Yeah, absolutely.
I also wanted your thought. I think from your video, I think you said you dealt with foreign countries.
Oh yeah.
Or am I mistaken? Okay, so another project I have is writing an ebook about unassuming leadership, and I was recommended to write that because I've reached the top of the enlisted rank, being unassuming, being, I mean, look at me. You never thought, right? If I just walked around without my uniform. So people would think I'm still a teenager or a kid just got out of high school or something. But So after this ebook, I wanted to translate it to like Tagalog. I'm Filipino, so I wanted to translate that book. How did you target those foreign country markets? That's what I'm asking, the concept of it.
What you have to do is you have to do your market research. So you go and what I would do. I mean, in those days we didn't have Google, but they had other sources. And the hardest thing for me now is I try to remember. I look back to think, how did I do my research before Google and all my search engines? It was like, well, we did it the traditional way because the government had resources, the countries had resources. But today it's easier because literally what you do, go on Google and then Google what you're looking for. Google demographics, Google what they need, what are the legalities, et cetera. Are there any legalities? But what's great when you're doing an ebook is that once you've done any of your research, so you get it translated, you can, a lot of the translators today, you can get that fairly simple. You just want to be careful when you're translating to make sure that you're actually in that translated dialect. And I'll give you an example. This is hilarious. So when we were doing the e-commerce project for Industry Canada, which Industry Canada is the business, and it was about kickstarting e-commerce in Canada back in 1998. So in Quebec, and we're a bilingual country in Canada, they speak a specific type, is Quebecois. It is not Parisian French, it's Quebecois. And within that, there are many different types of dialects. And so the government had their specific translator that translated all of our materials, like the materials that I'd written, the workbooks and everything else, for our workshops within Quebec. Well, something happened. We had to make a change and we had to kind of pivot really quickly. And I went to Babelfish. Now, Babelfish is completely, I mean, think about it, 1998, what year are we now?
Yeah, that's old.
Babelfish is a whole different world now. But back then, that was all we had. And here's what happened. It was just a tiny little piece, but we're presenting, and I've got the government person, and suddenly someone in the workshop's going ballistic. They're going ballistic because it is Parisian French, and it's not Quebecois. And I kind of stopped dead, and I look at him, and he's magnificent, my guy that was working with me on this. And he calmed the whole thing down. And I apologized. And I said, I am really, really, really sorry. And this is why we had to do it. So he calmed down and everything. So it's going to be really critical that in your research, make sure that when you're translating and you're marketing into a certain region, that language is really is the language of the people that you're marketing to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm glad.
Of freaking someone out.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because in the Filipino culture we have over like 200 dialects, and
there you go.
I speak 3 of them. Yeah. But yeah, that's a really good point. But Tagalog is the main language of the whole Philippines, and I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
And then
so
then you have your sub dialects.
Would start there, and then as you identified, because marketing is still, even because you've got the social media and everything like that. But still, you've got the different niches and your demographics that you're working at. So you maybe want to start with the main language. And then if you're marketing into a certain area where you know that language, then you just adjust and get that translated for that particular market. That's going to be the best way to go. And literally today, it's freaking simple to get out to all these markets because you're going to employ social media, you find demographics, you find someone there that maybe wants to partner or work with you, and you start marketing into those areas, and then it just picks up steam from there, right? So, yeah. And then you need a solid social media plan because that's tricky.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're going to do great.
Sounds good.
I love it. Write the
book. Thank you. Thanks for the support
start looking
and
at
the
where
belief.
you want to go, how you want to do it. Just check out, make sure everything's okay to market to them and go. Just do it.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I have a lot of relatives there. They're all business minded, so it's better because they have a lot of contacts too. They did their business from ground up. So I just want to hit that market too.
Yep.
That's awesome.
One of the things, and so it's really important that you've got your business plan.
One of the things that just kind of popped.
Sure you've got an action plan, and you have a daily,
weekly. So following each other.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say one of the things that has been popping through my head while you're talking about this translation stuff is that you may, for some reason, I've been thinking reach out to a local guide in any smaller area, like a tourist guide, because they are in the business
Yes.
of translating in real time with live language. So
Yeah.
they will be, as
Okay.
opposed to somebody who went to school to learn translation 20 years ago, 10 years ago, they're like they're on the streets. They know the colloquialisms, they know the slang of the area. So they'll
Right.
actually, I think, be even more valuable in a proper translation when you get into, you're talking about 200 dialects.
Yeah.
There's the Queen's English, and then there's how we talk. you know.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what's unique about the
Yeah.
Filipino dialects is they're totally different from each other. It's not like a northern slang and a southern slang. They're like a totally different languages.
yeah, yep.
Cool. That's really cool. Well, that's great. That's a great market for you.
Now, do you have any final questions before we say thank you and send everybody on their way? It's but this hour has gone by fast.
I know, because it's wild. So talking about the wild, wild west and the .com days, like holy cow! Now we got like smooth and lovely, right? Now you got to be in a real business, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It was good.
If you don't make a profit, it's a hobby, right?
Right.
Some people have very
Yeah,
expensive
exactly.
hobbies.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. But yeah, and it's okay. Whatever works for you. But yeah, there's no more of this conning people into, oh yeah. I would look at business plans. They would bring, I would like, are you kidding me? You're never going to make any money at this. Up, down, gone. But they raise all this money in the market. And then it's like these people,
Yeah,
yeah, they're just excited, right? Thinking they're going to, no, just those crazy times. Now is a different story. Thank
yeah,
goodness. But you're going to be really successful at what you're doing. I can tell. You just get your plan, your action plan, and then you take the action in behind it. It's always about action, and away you go. You're going to do well.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
You're
awesome.
welcome. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend.
You too. And thank you, Gail.
You're
Thank you
welcome,
again.
Yeah.
Ralph. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Gail. This
Thank
was
you,
fun.
Catherine. This was wonderful. I really appreciate you being here. Thanks
I
again.
love talking to you. Take